And the recording has started, Chair.
Thank you, Chloe. Prynhawn Croeso, good afternoon and welcome to the South West Wales Corporate Joint Committee Energy Subcommittee being held on Monday, the 30th of September 2024. Usual housekeeping rules, this is a virtual meeting, so the meeting will be recorded for possible transmission later on via the Council's website. Could we all ensure that our microphones are switched to mute unless speaking? Mobile phones are switched to silent, and could you all raise your hand if you wish to speak? My name's John Harvey, Councillor John Harvey, leader of Pembrokeshire County Council. I'm the chair of the subcommittee. Other members with us this afternoon are from Carmarthenshire, Executive Member Councillor Aled Vaughan Owen, from the City and County of Swansea, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member Councillor Andrea Lewis. From Neath, Talbot County Borough Council, we have Executive Member Councillor Jeremy Hurley, and from Pembrokeshire County Council, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Place of the Region, Councillor Paul Miller. So welcome all. In terms of apologies, I've had one apology, I think, Chloe, from Liz Bickerton from Brecon Beacons National Park. Moving on then to agenda item 2 of the meeting, declarations of interest. Do any members have any declarations of interest to declare? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Moving on then, minutes of the previous meeting. So this is the meeting of the subcommittee which was held on the 13th of May 2024. And these minutes are here for approval and they'll be... Could I ask members whether you have any comments initially in terms of accuracy on the minutes? No? Okay. They are for approval, so I'll need a proposer and seconder. I'm more than happy to propose the minutes be approved. Councillor Aled Vaughan Owen, thank you very much, Aled. Seconding, thank you. So could we just have a show of hands, please? Favour, either by hand or electronic hand.
I can confirm those minutes approved, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chloe. Thank you for that, members. So moving on to the substantive item then on the agenda, which is the update on the Regional Energy Strategy Delivery, agenda item 4. Again, this report can be found on pages 9 to 20 of the agenda. And I understand that Darren Thomas will be introducing this report. So if I could hand over to you, please, Darren. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Head of Infrastructure and Environment at Pembrokeshire County Council. So, as the report sets out, the purpose of the report is to provide members of the Energy Subcommittee with a progress update of the regional delivery for energy, as outlined within the wellbeing objectives of the corporate plan, with particular emphasis on the regional energy. The recommendation at the end is that members note the progress being made, but also to be aware that the 3 proposed projects that are discussed in the report will be subject to development and coming back to the Energy Subcommittee for decision in due course. So in terms of the content of the report, the Corporate Joint Committee has been mandated to implement a regional energy strategy. And on the 15th of March 2022, it was resolved that the South West Wales Regional Energy Strategy be adopted as the framework for the CJC's work programme. As part of that commitment, the corporate plan encompasses the wellbeing objectives, with wellbeing objective number 1 to collaborate in terms of the production of the Regional Economic Delivery Plan and the Regional Energy Strategy. It's worthwhile pointing out here that I know there have been some observations in the past in relation to local area energy plans. So what this report is pointing out to you is that the work of the local area energy plan is effectively fulfilling the work of the regional energy strategy. And I know there have been some concerns that LEAPs have been seen as local delivery tools or measures, whereas in fact the LEAPs themselves are providing the backbone to work to the regional energy strategy. So as the report sets out, The emphasis is on local area energy plans, and the strong synergy and overlap to the regional energy strategy is emphasised. In terms of the local energy plans, these have been aggregated to inform the regional energy plans and are in turn being aggregated, difficult word, aggregated to form a national picture. In terms of progress against the actual plan, I'd like to bring in, if I may, Laura from the regional team to go through a presentation briefly, if I may, Chair, just to sort of cover the work that's been going on. I can see your hand is up as well, Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, before I bring Laura in, I see Andrea's got her hand up.
Yeah, well, thank you, Councillor Harvey. Apologies. I should have declared an interest as a board member of Swansea Community Energy and Enterprise Scheme, who are mentioned in Appendix C. Sincere apologies that I didn't do that under item 2. Thank you.
No problem at all, Andrea. Can you just note that, Chloe, please, in the
Yeah,
minutes?
I'll make a note of that. I also send a form around at the end of the meeting, if that's okay, Councillor Lewis. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, if you'd like to come in, please.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen. Is that visible to you yet?
It is to me, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, I'm recently appointed as the manager of the regional energy team. And where we are at the moment is that all 4 LEAP reports have been completed now. Pembrokeshire's was done in 2022, but this summer the Swansea, Neath, Talbot and Carmarthenshire, who were all put together by City Science, were completed this summer. So we've now got this evidence base. And I think what's really important to note is that, as Darren said earlier, is that together these will form the energy strategy. The Welsh Government are currently aggregating this data to form a regional and then national picture. And it's a bottom-up approach to forming that national picture. So these LEAPs have been developed, according to the circumstances and priorities of each local authority. So the next steps will then obviously be for Carmarthenshire, Swansea and Neath, Talbot will be the translating and then publishing as soon as the Welsh translation is currently being done at the moment. And just for those, if you haven't seen them, this is sort of this is Swansea's. And you can see from the action plan overview, all of these sort of key actions and themes are a replication of what is in the regional energy strategy. And then what the most recent City Science LEAPs have done is highlight 15 actions. But again, many of those are regional actions, which will be done, obviously across the whole area. And just we have looked at the 67 actions in the existing regional energy strategy, which is within the CJC corporate plan, and 51 are directly covered by the LEAPs, and those that aren't tend to be ones that need to be dealt with at national level, such as changes to planning or national transport strategy, and even how the sort of energy markets are organised at the moment. And then what we've done recently through the summer is we've had a review with teams from Carmarthenshire, Neath, Talbot, Swansea and Pembrokeshire, and we've looked at the regional actions which were highlighted by City Science, the consultants, to get Pembrokeshire's buy-in, because obviously they weren't part of this more recent process. But again, those, you could look at the Pembrokeshire LEAP and all of these actions would be found in there. So those are the regional actions that we're addressing, but we also felt that there's a number of actions around retrofit, particularly, and about the implementation of sort of low carbon heating, particularly across household installation, that hadn't been flagged as regional actions, but are covered by either 2 local authorities, or we just felt that, things like bulk purchasing, for instance, and things to do with skills, and the supply chain obviously need to be dealt with at a regional level. And so what we've done is we've prioritised the actions for the sake of the work of the regional energy team for the next 6 months. And the ones I've highlighted in yellow are those that sort of require ongoing work and coordination and engagement. And then the ones we've flagged in red are the ones where we've now got projects that we're developing linked to those. These are all in the report as well. And so the first actions of the most recent LEAPs was to formulate the governance process. And so what we've done, instead of creating a further group, a steering group for the LEAPs, for the regional coordination of the LEAPs, we've actually we've agreed that the existing energy core group would serve that function, and so that stakeholders such as NGED, WWU, Regional Skills Partnership, then our own regional energy team, and then the local authority energy and sustainability teams would all feed into that. And you can see there that where we then sit within the wider structure. And in terms of the projects that I've sort of put a bit more detail in the report, there's Solar Together by iChooser, and that's a group purchasing scheme where using mosaic targeting, iChooser will target able to pays within the region. We have to do this project as a region. In England, it's done at local authority level, but because of the numbers, the population numbers we need, we're going to have to do it as a region. And this project will just, it sort of is a nudge, really. It enables people, it sort of takes the guesswork and the worry and the having to find 3 quotes out of having solar, battery and EV chargers installed. Basically, the company uses local authority branded letter to send out across the region, across the council area, and then for whatever take up there is, then whatever installation people go for, then the council gets a feedback. So this will be sort of cost neutral, but it's one of the projects we will be approaching the CJC for money, because it's a relatively small amount of money, and that money will come back in, but we just need it to kickstart the project. This has been done across several local authorities in England. Norfolk's now on its 8th year of running the project, and basically iChooser does all of the project management, the auctions for a best price, so people get a very good quality project at a fixed price. They'll get an offer from the company, and then the whole process from then on is managed by iChooser, using whether it's a local contractor or a more national contractor to deliver it. And then the other project, one of the other projects we're doing, we're currently talking to our community energy groups right across the region, and we've got agreement and good support from them to run a regional behavioural change scheme, providing advice, community-based advice and home assessments for households across the region. Particularly at the moment, we're having issues with people who've had Eco4 installed, for instance, and they've not had that sort of training, and they don't know how to use these systems. And what a lot of the local energy companies, energy groups are finding is that they're now increasingly being asked to give advice on how people run their schemes once they've already been installed. So we'd use this programme to provide that advice, but also to increase uptake. There's lots of people in our region that are eligible for some of the schemes and grant funding, but they're just not taking them up because they don't know if it's for them. So that's to sort of provide confidence, really, to do that. And that we're targeting the National Lottery Climate Action Fund for that, and we hope that'll be a 3-year project. And then finally, working with colleagues right across the local authority sort of transport, EV charging infrastructure teams, we want to develop a charging pilot looking at cross-boundary charging, particularly for people home to work workers who take the vehicles home but who live out of the local authorities. So a way of how do we maximise the use of the infrastructure that we're all putting in and just improve the efficiency in general. So we're using the pilot to look at what the challenges are of making some of our depots or our chargers, local authority chargers, more accessible to other public sector agencies. So I think, and then finally, whilst we wait for the figures to be aggregated, this is a scenario of the sort of the numbers, really, the level of change and transformation that's going to happen in the region. And this is a scenario from NGED, and customer transformation is the one that's most similar to the LEAPs. Lots of, in terms of, we expect a lot of the heating to go to electric. And so if you look at the numbers, we're looking at, over 300,000 heat pumps across the region, 1,500 megawatts of solar generation, wind generation, hydrogen. And I think what these figures highlight that, as well as the big projects, potentially the High Line and the offshore wind, what the LEAPs, what the net zero by 2050 is really all about is, it's hundreds of thousands of projects taking place in people's homes, in people's businesses. And that's how we'll get to net zero. So I just think it's, I think I just don't want us to be too focused on, and we won't as a team, we were very much focused on, it's these small projects which will get us there at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. If I might just come in as well, Councillor Harvey, to finish things off. So the three projects that Laura was just mentioning there are in appendices B, C and D of your report. And just to add as well to what Laura was saying in terms of the projects, clearly this work does work across and complement the work of the economic regeneration side of things with some of those mega projects such as offshore wind, because of course some of the smaller work relies on that technology and work being done on a bigger scale as well. So on that basis, Councillor Harvey, if I could pull you back to the recommendations that members of the subcommittee note the progress made to date and forthcoming milestones. And there are several officers here who are able to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Darren, and thank you very much, Laura, for the presentation. Obviously, a lot of work's gone on there, and I like the point about a lot of the small projects and their contribution towards net zero, and we can see that across the region. Could I open it up to questions then from any members on the report? Seem to be anything forthcoming at the moment. Andrea, please come in.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey, and thank you for taking us through the report. Just a quick question, really, in terms of Appendix D and the cross-boundary EV opportunities. Appreciate, we're looking at councils specifically because we have direct control with councils, but isn't there an opportunity with public service board partners as well to share their networks and likewise, because I think, there's a danger otherwise of thinking very insular, and I think there's an opportunity there that could be possibly explored further. I know there's an appetite there.
Thanks, Andrea. Darren.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Lewis. I totally agree with what you're saying. So I chair the decarbonisation group in Pembrokeshire, PSB, and that is something we are talking to with our partners in the National Park and Health Board and other public sector bodies starting to. We're not quite there yet, but there's clear opportunity for us to have that collaboration. So take on board what you're saying, and Laura, I can see she wants to come in as well, so I'll let her also comment on that if that's all right, Chair.
Please do, Laura.
Yeah, we're involving the fires. Well, I'm hoping to get the fire service to be involved in this pilot initially. There's been a similar type project done in Powys with some NRW Powys. I think the health board up there has had a look at putting together a pilot and MOU as well. But yeah, no, we very much see this as going broader.
Thanks, Laura. Happy, Andrea? Yep. Okay, lovely. Thank you. Can I bring Alid in? Hi, Alid.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was just going to add to the same point. In Carmarthenshire, we're at the tail end of about a 4-month piece of work on this exact thing between the PSB partners in Carmarthenshire. So if you would like, I could connect you up with the officers that have been leading on that. I think there's been a general supportive conversations around this, and we're looking at the technical back office stuff that requires which will enable this to work long term. So I will have a word with those officers and touch base to see how progress is going on and how that information can be shared. Diolch.
Oh, diolch, Alid, and thank you very much for that. That's very useful. Thank you. Any further comments from any of the members, or any comments from any officers on any aspect of the report before we move on? Jeremy, please come in.
Sorry, I know we're speaking about the PSB boards, but is there an option to sort of take the businesses as well? I've only given an example. It's obviously out of our area. Penderyn Whiskey had a huge array on the roof. I think they were overproducing, so you could basically go and plug in for free. I'm just wondering if there's similar sort of opportunities within just contacting the businesses who perhaps may be overproducing, or if they are, there's a chance of charging off solar, then they can probably give you a cheaper rate if it's equivalent of the feed-in rate that they might be getting or something. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Darren.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, thank you very much, Councillor Hurley. I think that's something we will pick up on. Going back to the previous point there from Councillor Adborn Owen, yeah, please pass us the details. I have regular contact with your Dan John as well. I don't know whether he's involved in this, but can share information with him as well. Diolch yn fawr.
Thanks, Darren. Happy with that, Jeremy? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Alid. I think you're on mute there, Alid.
Thought I'd have learned by now. Yeah, just the idea of iChooser. So the letters will be going out under the local authority badge or jointly. And although you've said lots of local authorities have had very positive experiences from this, is there some risk for us there if projects don't work well and it looks like we have promoted this? Is there any learning from other authorities where there's some pushback towards the local authority?
Thanks, Alid. Come back in, Laura, please.
In terms of the several local authorities that we've spoken to that have run this scheme in England have been very positive, and they've found that actually it's been, some years they've actually made a small profit off the scheme themselves. Basically, although it would be organised regionally, letters would go out, targeted letters would go out under the individual local authorities brand, and it's just to give people that confidence that it's there's so many sort of different schemes at the moment being plugged, particularly on social media, that people are starting to feel like, free solar panel, it's all a scam, and so it's to give people the confidence to go with this. I mean, the individual costs to the local authorities I think it's about 6,000 each, which is why, but we want to do it sort of centrally by asking the CJC, and then that we're expecting. The iChooser have given us figures of, I think, about a 0.41 as a very sort of conservative uptake, and that would be about 300 properties across the region in the first year, and that would be enough to cover the scheme getting its money back from the local authorities' point of view.
Thanks, Laura. Darren, did you want to add to that?
Yes, thank you. Well, the only thing I wanted to add was, of course, that we will need to come back to the committee for the approval of the project. So I think, Laura, if we obviously take on board that observation and make sure during the development of the case, when we bring it back, that we've also provided coverage of that point so that we can get it signed off appropriately, if that's okay, Councillor. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. I got a thumbs up from Alid, so hoping you're happy with the response there, Alid. Excellent. Over to you, Andrea. Please come in.
Thank you, John. Yes, in a sense, I was looking at this and thinking that Appendix B and C kind of align, because when we're talking about public confidence and community engagement and trying to help people reach net zero, part of that is to try and encourage them through community groups to take up schemes like this. So I'm aware that in Swansea, for example, we've got an energy awareness hub switched on that goes outreach to communities and helps people to save money on their energy bills. Those kinds of groups and that kind of outreach work could also enable people to have the confidence to sign up to this chooser scheme as well. So just flagging that up, really, that the two are very much interlinked for me.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea, and totally agree. Any other further comments from any members? Nope. Okay, so on that basis, then I'll move to the recommendation, which has been read out, but just for completeness sake. So the recommendation is that members of the South West Wales Corporate Joint Committee Energy Subcommittee note the progress made to date and forthcoming milestones, and note the 3 proposed projects as outlined and detailed within the appendices of this report are for information and will, assuming there should be a B in there, and will be subject to development prior to seeking endorsement from the South West Wales Corporate Joint Committee Energy Subcommittee ahead of a decision from the South West Wales Corporate Joint Committee. Although it's for noting, I think just for completeness sake, I would like to have a proposer and seconder, if I may. Proposed by Andrea, seconded by Alid. Thank you very much. And a show of hands then, all in favour. Looks unanimous, Chloe?
Yep, unanimous, Chair.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much for that, members and officers for the presentation. Moving on then to agenda item 5 of the agenda, forward work programme. This is found on pages 21 to 22 of the agenda. And the forward programme is here for noting purposes. Could I ask any members or any officers if they have anything to add to the forward work programme?
I see no indication, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Chloe. So on that basis then, unless anybody has any further comments or any comments, indeed, I'll go straight to the recommendation, which again is for noting. And again, just for completeness sake, could I get a proposer and a seconder for that? Andrea proposing, thank you, Andrea. And Alid again seconding, thank you all. Show of hands, if I could, all in favour?
Unanimous, Chair.
That's unanimous. Thank you all for that. Final item on today's agenda then is urgent items. Agenda item 6, I've got no urgent items. Anything from you, Chloe?
Nope, no urgent items, Chair.
No. On that basis then, I'll draw the meeting to a close. So could I thank you, members across the region, for attending. Obviously,